Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are going to return to the regular order for tonight's planning board meeting. And the first thing on our list is our discussion for site plan review for the remand for Dunkin' Donuts and Delaney Market, 500 East Hampton Road, Salmar Realty. And, just for the sake of the public, we are going to be deliberating on this tonight. We are not at this point taking comments. We are going to see how much of this we can work through. And, we're going to get this as close to a final product as we can. And then we are going to study it and make sure that we've got everything covered. So without further ado, I believe we have a draft to look at.
Brianna, can you share your screen on that, or should I try to?
Give me 1 second.
Just open it up from the Google Drive.
Google Drive, okay. Hmm. Nope, hold on. Are you seeing it?
No.
Not
No.
yet.
Jeff, I think you might have to because remember my video's not working.
Give me one moment, please.
Oh, no, I got it.
The reason I'm asking is that I'm on my personal computer.
I believe so. Hold on. Yep. Right?
Yes,
That's the one.
that's it, yeah.
Okay.
So then I was, you know where to go from there. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Can everybody see it?
Yeah.
My first time doing this, so bear with me.
I just wonder whether the public hearings list should clarify which ones were the initial hearings and which ones were the remand hearings, for sake of tracking the process.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So like these dates down here?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think that if it's going to be complicated to do, we necessarily need to do it on the fly, but we need to make a note to get it done.
I can definitely do that. That's no problem.
Yeah, and I will make a note to myself that we're doing that.
Brianna, is it possible to zoom in a little bit so it's gonna be wider? I know that you're gonna lose some of the lines, but I'm wondering.
Like that?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff, are you looking for us to come up with the project description there?
Well, at this point, because the original description didn't match what was on the original plans, and because then it became the remand, I guess I was almost maybe seeking maybe a suggestion from Attorney Matuleski as to what is this considered? Because keeping in mind that it's this site plan review decision as well as 4 special permit decisions as well. But you know, I didn't know what this was referred to once it went took a different course. So I'm open to whatever you know, I mean, do we just base it on the most recent submission?
What would you normally put there?
Well, under normal circumstances, based on what was on the application, we would have put what was on the application for the project description. But obviously the project description doesn't match what was originally submitted.
Well, how about if we forget about the 2020, 2021 version and we describe it as the coffee house donut, prepared food shop as described in the plans dated, you know, whatever the new date was. And if we have to add some description, we can identify it by its smaller number of square feet, you know, anything else that distinguishes it from the original. So we know that it refers to this site plan and not the previous one.
So the most recent revision date on this plan set is 4/8 of 24. Received 4/9.
Yeah, I think we can either do that, or if Jane thinks it's a better idea, we could do something like, you know, the proposal for this site referred to in the remand order dated, whatever that was.
I would go with your first one, Mimi.
Okay,
Just leave the remand language out.
okay. Is all I really care about, well, all we care about is making sure that we identify this and separate it from the previous version. So if that works, you know, we don't have to fill it in now, but that's how we'll fill it in.
What did you have it as, Mimi? I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, can I get it
Well, I
back?
mean, it's gonna be something like what's in the header, if I may, and I'm sorry for kind of talking or
Go
interjecting.
ahead.
It's gonna be something like commercial development, and it'll probably include the area and then dated, for, you know, plans dated 4/8/24.
Yeah, include
Sorry.
the address.
Plans dated 4/9/24,
8.
4/8.
And that'll be 500 East Hampton Road. There has to be a standard way to do this because it's possible for people to have more than one active site plan.
And for what it's worth, the area of the new building is 1,485 square feet per that plan.
Yeah, so for,
I mean, we can always come up with a sentence for this as well. I don't want to, we probably shouldn't dwell on it that long, but I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't provide, I just wasn't sure what direction to go and if it had to be labeled as one or the other, but we can also come up with something.
yeah, well, you know, we're all working this out as we go along. And this would also imply that we're citing the public hearings held with respect to this project, not the previous project. And we'll just have to figure out whether at any point we're relying on any information that came out of the previous project, which could make things awkward.
Can we move on to the waivers and findings section?
Please do. I'm relying on you to move this forward instead of leaving me to stare at sentences and try to reconfigure them.
Personally, I would be fine with giving these waivers so long as we're not dealing with a pylon sign, but maybe we need to circle back to this after we talk about signage.
I think possibly we need to circle back to this because somewhere in the body of this, there was a discussion of, I don't think they were the same, but getting drawings of the views that you would get coming out of the site.
Okay, so let's leave this part open,
Yeah.
waivers.
Because I think the worry was making sure we understood what drivers were going to see.
Right. In terms of findings, I personally would make the findings as kind of rule-based and opinion-less as possible. So I don't have specific language really, but I would suggest things like, meets the requirements as set out by Conscom for the landscape, and for the circulation, meets the standards of as interpreted by the traffic engineers. I would go for sort of neutral language of that sort, given the fact that we're under litigation.
Well, that makes sense. I only wonder whether we want to in any way acknowledge how difficult this site is. The landscape does the best it can do, given the constraints on the site. That is less neutral.
Maybe, do you feel like could you draft language for us on that?
I can do that. I can even do it both ways.
Can I,
Nathan, yes,
can I,
please.
yeah, I mean, the landscape section, I'm just throwing it out here. I basically just mentioned that this is a previously paved surface. So it'll be basically, basically I'm saying is after is right after where the cursor is, I'm basically saying utilizing previously paved site with the closed coffee shop to allow for more traffic circulation as a drive-through for coffee and other food items. So I'm not talking about any preservation or improvement of open space. I'm just mentioning that this was already a paved site.
You-
And actually, Brian, I can type it in. I can type it in the chat so you can. Again, this
Okay.
is my opinion. So
Okay.
I'll just type it in, but people just feel free to, you know.
Yeah, no, to a certain extent, I feel like you're going in the same direction I was going in, which is just acknowledging that this is not going to be a garden here. And the applicant was using a previously paved space. But we do have to find that the landscape and open space are consistent with our ordinance to be able to do this. On that level, it doesn't matter what it
Right.
was.
Sorry, what was that, Mimi?
On that level, it doesn't matter very much what it was before. We have to find it in compliance.
I see. Yeah, and maybe yeah, maybe I need to, maybe we can come back to this or focus
Yeah,
on
well-
this. Yeah,
No, I'm assuming that we're going to make this as good as we can and then come back to it and do it again. Because it's an important project and we want to make sure we get it right. You know, I wouldn't read a contract once and sign it either.
so Brianna, I guess I'm not gonna type that in.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'll just take this off.
yeah, that's, I think it's kind of pending, I guess.
Yeah,
And building design, you know, we didn't see the really refined drawings. But last iteration of this project, one thing that the applicant was really great about was making this Duncan look as much like it belonged with the log cabin as it possibly could. And if that continues to be the case, you know, we can say that the architectural style is in harmony with the surrounding buildings.
it's what? Sorry, Mimi? I'm sorry.
In harmony with nearby buildings and with the banquet house that is its closest neighbor.
And the last bit was.
Nathan typed it into chat. Nathan is a fast typist.
I know, gee.
I think we agree with some of the things, so I guess I was able to kind of guess. Of course, it's a get. Excuse me. I was kind of able to, I guess I'm trying to use what Mimi is saying and trying to put that in writing.
Well, thank you.
Okay, utilities, to a certain extent, this is still under review, but it already says or are in the review process. How about the development is or will be served by?
Am I keeping this or getting rid of it?
No, I thought it was okay.
Okay,
I was down to circulation and whether we could possibly get Steve Severia to give us some language.
Yeah, I was thinking something like the site plan shows site circulation that meets the standards of traffic engineering. But we could get him to,
Yeah, but that's a good thing to put in there now, and it may be a good thing to keep.
meets the standard of.
standards of traffic engineering.
Infrastructure looks good to me as it is. Anybody else?
Seems fine to me.
Okay, then I think we're done with findings. And on to conditions. Okay, one is just boilerplate. Okay, 3, do we want to include any requirement that there be some memorialization of that approval? So, not only does the water department know, or not only does the water department manager approve, but we have evidence that the water department manager has approved. I mean, an email would do. And if the answer to that is yes, I can
Yeah.
draft something for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that should be submitted to the planning board.
Right? In an email proof or,
How about just written evidence of such approval? Shall be submitted to the planning board. Provided is fine.
Yeah.
Submitted whichever, doesn't matter.
okay.
Okay,
I had a comment on the end of 5.
go for it.
Just the last sentence. Please see that the applicant is aware of these requirements. I was just gonna rephrase it for
No.
clarity. Please see that the applicant is aware of these requirements, which are a condition of approval.
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, I took that directly from David's letter per his request.
Oh.
That sentence might go away, could go away perhaps. I just wanted to include it so that you knew that it was specifically the water department manager seeking it. But you're more than welcome to also tailor it to however you wish. But I just left it there as a point to know that that's where it kind of came from.
Yeah, no, I think it's good that we know, but I'm with Kate. I would rephrase that because a different version of it belongs in this document, basically.
So what should I be writing again?
Well, if please see that, we can say something like the applicant shall confirm to the planning board that they're aware of this condition.
Right.
And I have a comment about this.
Maybe does this now, you had other language there.
Yeah, I will attempt to type it in a moment.
Okay.
Okay. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up here is, as a result of the changes to this plan, it looks as though, from the water department's comments, that the sewer stuff, the infrastructure, is now, it belongs to the log cabin. The log cabin is presumably using it, but it is under the property that belongs to the applicants now. So we might want to have something in here reflecting a need for the owners of the log cabin to know about this and approve of it in some form. And Jane, do you think we need an easement of some kind or just some memorandum of understanding between them?
Which one are we talking about?
We're talking about number 5. If you look
The
in
Holyoke
there,
Waterworks?
yeah. Because if that's the sewer line for the log cabin, I'm sure that the Salmar people wouldn't be digging it up without some consultation with them, but I think we want to be sure.
Maybe we put language in there that says that the president requires that the relocation be accepted. So maybe that the applicant shall provide a copy of the Holyoke Waterworks approval.
Part of what I'm worried about, though, is the log cabin approval.
What do you mean?
Okay, so at the beginning of all of this, the log cabin was owned by Peter Roscoffin, who
Right.
and sold the log cabin. So the new owner is not a party to this application.
Well,
But if the infrastructure, but
sorry,
if
Mimi.
the cabin sewer is now underground on the applicant's property, and they have to dig it up and do something else for this project, does the log cabin have some kind of interest in its plumbing?
Right.
And if it doesn't, everything is easy, but
Can I think about it? Can we put a pin in it and let me think about it? And show the exact language we should probably be using.
of course, the whole point of this is that we have some time to think about it.
Right. Brianna, would you mind just kind of making a note about that? That I'll follow up with language.
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course.
And 6 feet seems fine to me, although I think possibly there should just be a boilerplate line saying, the planning board will, need evidence that this has happened. However I phrased it.
You put it at the end of number 3 and you could just maybe copy and paste that
Yeah, I
line.
think there are a bunch of them where we should just copy and paste that line.
On all of, on 7-2? Just 6.
Let's see. Yeah, why not? Stick it everywhere.
So before you,
Oh,
my only thought about 7 is just for readability. In my mind, the phrase based on department reviews, which may be outstanding, I might put that phrase somewhere else.
And that any outstanding department reviews have been addressed.
Prior to the issuance of any permit issued by the building. Like, prior to the issuance of any permit issued by the building department, the peer traffic reviewer review the revised plans dated April 8th, 2024. In light of department reviews outstanding on that, upon receipt of traffic reviews that were outstanding on that date. Jeff, what was the sequence here is that there are some reviews that were outstanding as of April 8th that are going to come in later, right?
Presumably. So as of the April 8th submission, which we received at 7:30 that evening, we did not, at that point, the peer traffic reviewer and the city engineer hadn't at that point had the opportunity to see those most recent revised plans. And at that point too, the information of what was in the right of way was not evident on I'm not sure if that plays in as well, but also that the Bauman information, I don't believe was considered to be part of the site plan review. And that was another thing that later on, we were asking for them to include that limit of work line to include all areas of, say, improvement or construction or limit of work.
Prior to the issuance of any permit issued by the building department, upon receipt of any department reviews which were outstanding on April 8th. Right, so then it can continue the peer traffic, so you keep what was there, the peer traffic reviewer review the revised plans dated April 8th to ensure that the plans meet the city standards and good engineering practice based upon those outstanding department reviews. Is that right? Then you could take out the last, which may be outstanding.
Based on those outstanding materials even.
Those outstanding materials.
And then do we want to add something like, if the peer reviewers review indicates a need for any adjustment in the site plan?
if the
Yeah.
peer reviewers review
Indicates any need for revisions or adjustments to the site plan. The applicant will make such revisions. Or possibly work with the peer reviewer to make such revisions as may be necessary.
After this part.
I think Mimi, you might be going a little too fast.
Well, yeah, I'm not good at dictating. I don't even hear this stuff as it comes out of my mouth.
Okay.
I guess we
Okay.
can refine it.
As may be needed.
I'll add.
And as with all of this stuff, this is my suggestion. Anybody who disagrees should speak right up.
Brianna, 2 lines up where the cursor is, 2 lines up. Yeah, I think with one, there's extra where you'll take after outstanding materials. I think you can take a department reviews. So
Oh,
page,
okay,
yeah,
take this one.
yeah, department reviews. Yeah, those 2 because materials replaced it. And yeah, yeah. And the other thing is, the wording that occurs throughout many of the conditions, I wonder if it has redundant wording. So it says prior to the issuance of any permit issued by the building department. I mean, isn't the issued word, isn't that redundant since it already says issuance at the beginning?
No, it's
No,
specifically
Okay.
asked for by the building commissioner.
Okay.
no, the reason that it isn't is that prior to the issuance is the condition, and any certificate or any permit issued by the building department is a description of all of the permits that they issue. It's like
Okay.
one big noun. And instead of calling out every single one of them every time.
Because once that was an issue.
Yes.
In number 8, and I think sort of throughout, there's a lot of times where the document says, provide to the planning department for review. And I know that we intend that to mean review and approval, but I think we should be explicit to add
Yes.
and approval. So in 8, it says applicable for review. I would just stick in and approval, and pretty much any other time we see
Yeah.
that, I would say and approval.
And the closed parentheses should go after as applicable.
And then can I just ask a clarification on 9? The comment letter from the Holyoke Fire Department related to the apparatus path analysis be provided to the who at HFD now needs to look at it, or should that be someone else? I was just confused about.
There was an email sent from Captain Luis Izquierdo, and his comment was he wanted to see an apparatus path analysis. I don't necessarily know what that might be, so that's why I wanted it to be provided back to the Holyoke Fire Department or to him for review and approval.
Oh, I was reading it that the comment letter should be provided. What you want is the apparatus path analysis to be
Well-
provided to the HFD.
Well, that's what was so in his email, it stated, well. It's not letting me in. 1 second, please. I'm
So,
sorry.
so it could be like prior to the issuance of any permit issued by the building department. As per the comment letter. Email dated March 22nd, from the Holyoke Fire Department. Related to an apparatus path analysis, comma, such an analysis be provided. I think that's all. No, you've already got be provided there. You just put in such an analysis. Or said analysis. It was just missing what was going to be provided, so I was going back and thinking it was the letter, but really it's the analysis that the letter calls for.
Well, that was what was in his email.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I was just unclear about what was being provided.
Okay.
What needs to be provided is the analysis he requested, not his letter requesting the analysis.
Right.
Okay.
Again, once we've done that, do we want to add anything saying, in the event that this analysis shows there's a problem with access for the fire apparatus, applicant will work with the fire department planning board to solve the problem.
So in his
Yes.
email, his words verbatim, and my only comment at this point for the proposed Dunkin' Donuts location at the lower lot of the log cabin is more of a request for a fire, or rather, an apparatus path analysis, given the restrictive nature of vehicular access. I understand that it may not be feasible to have full access around the site for our apparatus. However, this information would be helpful in identifying what our limitations are in terms of apparatus placement and perhaps collaborates on a plan to address these issues.
Yeah, so we should get it, and we should, add the language about asking that the issues, if any, turn out to be addressed.
Mimi, are you writing that language?
I am.
Okay.
Are we waiting for Mimi to type
You can
something?
go ahead without me, it'll take me a minute.
Jeff, I had a question about 11. I found a comment letter dated March 29th. Not April 2nd.
My most recent letter written to the applicant was forwarded on April 2nd.
Maybe it was dated March. Was it dated earlier than that? I was just trying to find that letter and then I was unclear.
I believe my was it's dated April 2nd. It's in the Google Drive also. Under department comment letters.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Brianna, for number 9, back
Mhm.
to so such an okay, on second line, such an analysis, should there be a shall after analysis? What does everybody think? Should it say such an
I don't-
analysis shall be provided?
Let me shoot you the language that I just transferred over to Jeff.
Okay.
Mm.
Oh.
I'll try to.
Does this maybe need to go to Brianna? This is for number 9, right?
Yeah, this is yes, and I sent it over to Jeff because
Okay, but that's
we
fine.
were
Yeah.
trying to work on it with me dictating, and my ability to dictate is plunging with every minute that passes.
My next comments once we get to 13. But I don't know if we're there yet. If anybody has something before that.
Yeah, I was just quick suggestion for number 10.
Sure.
Second line. I think it says a copy, hard copy, maybe the copy word after between or I mean basically I think you just need to say or
Yeah,
hard
there's just
copy.
repeated.
Yeah, just yeah, so Department of Hard Copy, no, sorry, Brianna, so there it should say a hard copy and digital PDF. So add the word or hard copy. Yeah. And also there on the same line, it says Conservation Commission, comma, does it need to say Conservation Commissions, so apostrophe S, does it need to say that instead? Okay, I mean, we can, yeah.
Yeah, no, for what it's worth, that was given to me by Yoni specifically.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I mean, does that mean it has some meaning behind it, or it was just a
I don't
simple
I don't
error?
know. It's just that was the terminology. He said it. You
Yeah,
know,
no, I
he added the
assumed that-
comma. I don't know if semantically if that's correct or not, but that's what he had said to me.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think the Conservation Commission's active order of conditions is probably correct here. But this is not something to dwell on. We can clean this up later one way or the other.
I understand. I mean, I think I agree mostly, but the thing is, I'm just speaking from my experience. If these things keep accumulating, eventually you'll miss a lot of them, or at least you miss one, and then it just gets. Well, I guess it doesn't matter.
No, it is
yeah,
good to
yeah.
fix any typos and minor grammatical stuff you can find. Proofreading is hard, and we're here, and I think it's good to do it. And we can check that with Yoni and make sure that, because now you've flagged it and we know to look for it.
There's somebody in the waiting room. Should we let them in?
What a
It's
good
a
question.
it's a
Yeah.
phone number.
It's a phone number. On rare occasions, phone numbers turn out to be Zoom boppers, but when they are, we can always kick them out again.
Okay.
Can I move to 13?
Please do.
I think that this is, we should add review by the traffic engineer to 13.
Where, sorry, Kate?
Yeah,
Just to 13. I mean, Brianna, you don't even need to figure out how to phrase it. Just like put in some way that we'll know to go back to it, review by traffic engineer. And somebody can clean it up later.
Okay.
Maybe make it red so that somebody
Yeah,
sees.
like just highlight it somehow. Then my next question was with 15. Does all the roadway improvements, do they need approval from DPW? Do they need approval from the highway department of the state? Do they need? And I mean, I think it should get reviewed by our traffic engineer also.
Well, number 15, why I was that was called out as an outstanding item was because when asked for that that limit of work line to be adjusted to include the work within the public right of way or within the 141 East Hampton Road right of way, the response was, well, this is under the DPW purview and has nothing to do with the site plan. So at that point, I think it was stated by either myself or others that because this project was causing that work to be done, technically it is part of the project.
Yeah,
And therefore, we wanted to see that limit of work line increased to include that. I mean, there's also another reference to, there was some restriping being done in the upper lot. It says on the plans to be restriped or something to that effect, but that wasn't included either. And so to further extend that limit of work line to include that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But shouldn't we be calling out that that needs to get approved? It's not just that they're showing
Oh,
it. It has to be
sure.
approved.
I
Yeah.
would think so. It'd have to be approved, at least in conjunction with the city's DPW. You know, I don't know necessarily if the state has any authority over that or not.
yeah, but this is where we want to put, yet another of our lines saying that the planning board needs, written proof of the approval of any authorities who need to approve it. And, I'm not sure who they are either, but we need to figure out who they are and make sure that, if the DPW needs to approve this, we have the approval of the DPW. If the state needs to approve it, we have the approval of the state. And I would think that Victoria can probably tell us. Or Victoria and Steve Severia between them.
Right. We need Steve to look at it for us.
Yeah. So, we could probably just stick a parenthetical in there saying that we need to we need to make sure that we know who the authorities are so that we can add the line saying, they will get us evidence of this being done to their satisfaction.
Make sure we're.
I'm sorry, I'm looking for the number that we're on.
And what else after that, Mimi? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
I didn't know.
Also, I think also reviewed by the traffic engineer.
Okay, and put that in red, or the
Yeah.
whole thing in red.
Yeah, that whole line.
Okay.
So for 16, I felt like maybe we should specify what the easements are. So-
Yeah,
I mean, there's the easement for parking, which is necessary for staff based on the reduction of the parking reduction. And I don't know if there's anything else, but I think we should specify that there just since this is functioning as our checklist and their checklist.
yeah. We have to dig all of this up and just make sure we've got all of them there.
Actually, Brianna, what I wouldn't put it in there. I would just like,
Okay.
again, I think you can just also do like in red at the end, just a notation that we need to write something about parking easements.
Um, What the heck?
The two places later on that are where that have review in yellow, I would say for review and approval.
Yes.
So with that, are you looking for those items to come back to the planning board? So should it say planning board approval? Or for planning board review and approval?
It's
I
fine
should
with
think
me. Or
Is-
staff.
because we never did get a look at the lighting plan, not really.
The truck turning plan, I'm personally fine with Jeff doing. I think he has a better handle on it, but
Yeah, no, as long as staff gets it, but staff does have to get it. So, did we see enough of all of these details that we're satisfied that we don't have to do review and approval language on 19?
So the issue with number 19 is that the plan provided, it didn't call out anything that would have been called, or didn't provide anything that's covered within the section of the ordinance. Such as,
Okay.
you know, it's building left, building right, you know, we really need to have the north, south, east, west on it. And so that, for instance, it wasn't signed and sealed by a registered architect. It didn't list the materials. So those items, basically, we need a revised building elevation plan to satisfy the requirements of the section,
Okay, review and approval.
right?
And I feel like there was a lot of vagueness about the signage.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's later.
Oh, okay, sorry.
there's a lot of this.
Yeah.
And I apologize to everybody for, we have to do most of this in public. I could not appoint a subcommittee.
So 19 should have the review and approval as well.
Yeah.
Or planning board review and approval.
Wait, for 19, I'm fine if staff does that one.
Oh,
I think-
okay,
I mean, I think we understood it. It just needs to be done correctly for the record,
okay,
right?
fair.
But well, we
Yes.
just need to see something in that meets the requirements of the section.
Yeah. My next question was on 23. Could it just be on the last line? Could it just be noting all revisions since the most current revision date? Jeff, do you, for some reason, do you need a written revision list prior to that?
Well, so typically the way it's always gone is the board has, or the board and or staff has asked for a final revision list, including all the revisions from, so the last plans that we received for this project was the 21st of, or rather July 13th of 21. So I wasn't sure if the board, that's why I put that date as being the last plans received for the project. So a culmination of that. I mean, at this point, it could be the April, was it April 4th, April 4th, I think. Yeah. Or April 8th rather. So,
Personally, I'd do it from April 8th because if I were, I wouldn't even know where to start with a list of revisions from July
You're not
21
wrong.
because everything's changed.
Yeah,
Right.
it's basically a new project.
right. You're not wrong. I just, like I said, that was just the way it normally would go, if there wasn't such a gap.
Yeah, but I think it wouldn't be coherent because so
Right.
much has changed.
Right.
So this is April 8th.
Yes.
And I think that can be staff. I think we should only call out it having to come to the planning board when it's something that is going to be something like the lighting plan that we really ought to be looking at, or the signage plan.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
My next comment's on 29.
Yeah, we're going to probably want to adjust well, we are going to want to adjust the dates, but we don't have to do that now. 29.
So I think this can just be department review and approval personally, but
Okay. Anybody else?
that's debatable. If other people wanted to see it that.
Yes, well, I see no hands raised, but this is your usual reminder, fellow planning board members and staff.
But one of the issues, not so much issues, but one of, say, staff concerns and that we don't have the information for is that you've got the order board basically 2 drive aisles or 20 feet away from a wall. And what kind of decibel or sound is that going to make as far as an echo? That was one of the concerns. That's why I put specifications as far as the decibel readings to further gain some information as to how loud that was going to be. But obviously, we also would want to see the height bar as well as the menu board to make sure, one, that it complies, and two, I mean, it's gonna be far removed enough where I don't think it's gonna be a site issue, but just to have those details so that when it evolves into something else in the future, we could say, well, gee, that wasn't what was on the original approval or the original plans.
Yeah.
So but the specs of what I was looking for was dB just for the decibel readings.
Okay, that's fair. So this one, and I mean, for I was gonna say definitely for 30 with the whole signs, we want it to come back to the planning board, so we can take both of them back to the planning board for review and approval, both 29 and 30.
So get rid of staff department on both.
Yeah, just say planning board review and approval for both of these. And I personally think with 30 is one of the things that I would call out having our traffic reviewer look at,
Okay.
because the circulation signage seems
Important.
relevant to getting his second opinion there. I think 31 is something that we ought to talk about, whether I can see an argument for saying no pylon sign, or I can see an argument for saying there'll be no pylon sign on the north end of the site, but any pylon sign at the entrance needs review and approval. Probably like a perspective drawing. I don't know how other people feel about any pylon sign at all.
I feel like it doesn't need a pylon sign, like there's gonna be a giant Dunkin' Donuts on the building.
Yeah, I think there was some discussion of a monument sign instead.
That's true, yeah. Should rephrase.
I just don't know that a street sign is necessary of any kind.
Well, Gerdinder, I see you there. Seem to recall you objected to a pylon sign.
Yeah, I thought there was, I agree, they don't, they won't do a pylon sign. The sign is in the donut is, the building is okay. So
Okay,
I think
I
the way
vote,
the traffic is there, I want a no pylon sign there, That's what I want.
okay, I vote
Because,
with Gerdinder.
yeah.
Let's leave it there.
All right, take out the question mark.
Should you also put monument? Should you put pylon/monument sign?
Gerdinder, how do you feel about monument signs?
Yeah, should be like nothing. Yep, same thing, pylon and monument. Yep.
Okay, then we'll
Because
add that.
I could butcher that. I think so.
and sorry, we wasn't saying anything because you guys doing awesome job, and we quietly listening. Don't want to bother you guys.
Well, as long as we're not running over anything that you think needs to be added.
Well, if you are running over anything, we'll honk the horn. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Okay, yes, this is where 32 is what I was thinking about when we talked about the waivers. I can see the logic of getting a visual, perspective drawing, hard copy from the point of view of a motor vehicle driver exiting the site. Is one of the things that people have just been asking me about in recent days that, I'm sure this can be corrected if it materializes, but for instance, there are going to be headlights now if you're going southbound over the mountain. If it's dusk or darker, you're going to have headlights coming at you from the actual stacking spaces on the site and from your other side, the travel lane. And we might want to get a look at what that looks like and be prepared to deal with it. And that's not specifically the 32 we have, but we might want to just think about whether there's a place where we want to get that visual so we can figure out whether it's a real problem or not. And, I think that I'm just going to make a note to myself to come back to that. But everybody sees the issue, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's both exiting the site looking north. It's also coming up to the site as you're heading south if
Yep.
it's dark and the lights are shining.
And the sheer weirdness of it is unusual to be traveling and have traffic going the other way on both sides of you, or feeling like it does.
So that's a consider.
Yeah. Probably run it past Steve before we do anything about it.
Mhm.
So is this one a review for the traffic engineer also?
Yeah, I'm making a note to myself about
Okay.
this one because I don't think that I can really dictate you good language right now, but probably by tomorrow.
I think it's more that we might need to ask the traffic engineer now rather
Yeah.
than later.
Yeah, that too. I mean, this may be a new substantive issue that he can give us some comfort on.
With 33, I would propose that could be staff review and approval.
Now, I'm good with that.
So just stick in and approval. Yeah.
Mhm.
I had a general question as we were going down.
Yes, sir.
You know, the conditions that require hard copies and digital PDF copies, in terms of number of hard copies, do we want to have some consistent number, like 2 or 1? I guess my thought was that sort of listing that at the beginning somewhere, you know, number of hard copies shall be 2 and what size they should be, or maybe they need to be customized for each condition, but I was just trying to think about making sure it's consistent.
Yeah, back in pre-COVID days, it seemed to me that we had standard numbers of hard copies for various things. But, you know, I certainly have lost track of how many we need for what applications.
I mean, typically at this point, when it's stated a hard copy and a digital PDF, I would assume it was one hard copy. Because at that point, we put one in our hard file, and then we also have the digital that we then transmit to other departments.
Yeah, so that seems fine, unless there's someplace where there's a real reason to ask for more.
I think early on there might be some conditions that say 2 hard copies. Maybe that's been up. Give me 1 second.
Right, there's typically
Yeah.
prior to the issuance of a building permit, the final complete plan set ×2, because we generally transmit a hard copy, we keep a hard copy, and we give a hard copy to the city engineer.
Okay.
But then any of these other items are under other, even like standard items, it's just typically one hard copy and the PDF.
Okay,
So other
great.
than saying a hard copy, we could say one hard copy, or like I said, I would just look at it as one hard copy.
Well, a hard copy means one hard copy normally.
Right.
Okay.
My next comment's on 39. But other people may have things before then.
I'm just going to look at my list, but
So the thing, you may want to touch upon the fence discussion though, under 36. So, and I know there was originally there was believed to have been the requirement of and speaking with Jessica Allen now some years ago, she was thinking that there needed to be a special permit for a dumpster enclosure, which under 4633, I think off the top of my head, it states that, you know, dumpster enclosures, as long as the enclosure is high enough to cover or buffer the dumpster enclosure, it was not necessary. But that, in fact, I don't believe there's anything as far as a temporary construction fence may not have ever been applied for.
yeah,
So
I
that
might,
letting you all know that that's there in case that they ever desired to install a temporary construction fence, that there was never a special permit applied for it and there would be a need for such.
okay, so yes, we should have the special permit called out there.
And that also under 37, under the original plans, there was never like a wall. In the fact, you know, this wall is exceeding, I want to say off the top of my head, it might go 5 to 6 feet. I don't have you know, at this point, my lights have even turned off, but regardless, that plus, you know, the requirement of the building code, which states any wall taller than 30 inches requires a fence. But now under 4631 states any man-made structure, retaining wall, berm, foundation, you know, basically that's considered a fence and would need the special permit.
Okay, so we leave that in. And Yeah, I assume that none of the old special permits would have carried over, whether we gave them formal leave to withdraw or not, because this is essentially a new process. And presumably their applications haven't been sitting dormant for like 3 years.
Well, see, that was one thing that was confusing, is that I don't know, I mean, I believe back when, much like the site plan review, they would have been denied. But I don't know if the remand brought them back or not. So, you know, there are the special permits that eventually the board should probably look at, that of what were applied for. But obviously, we're not there yet. But, you know, there were, you know, obviously there's multiple principal structures. There was a signed special permit. There was the fence permit, but I believe the intent was for the dumpster enclosure. And then it was multiple principal signs.
Well, it
There were
doesn't matter.
four,
We can look back and clean all of this up.
Yeah, it was also the parking reduction.
Yeah. So, we will still have, if they haven't been renewed, there's still things that need to be done and we'll still need to hear them.
Right.
I
Should,
just want to step in. I'm 90% sure those ancillary special permits back in 21 got denied as well.
Yeah, I think so, because I seem to remember there being complaints that we didn't explain why we denied them.
When you
Right.
say ancillary, are you referring though to the four I just mentioned?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. But so did those get folded into the remand?
Yes.
So therefore, all four of those would essentially be on the table again.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, well, we will have to figure out how we proceed on these. Because things like the multiple principal structures are really easy. They're not needed for this project. But, you know, just on a technical level, we have to figure out whether we are.
Madam Chair, question.
Yes. Berninder, please.
Just a question. We have to finish all this today, right, or no?
Let me ask Jane about that.
Because I have to.
Yeah,
Go
my
ahead.
feeling had been that we should do this in public session, but if it would be permissible for us to maybe designate a subcommittee to do the rest of it and present it at our next meeting, you know, I'm not sure. And, you know, we do have time on this. We don't absolutely have to finalize it at the next meeting. The only reason that I'm even pushing is in case Nathan really needs to not be here with us. So Jane, do you have thoughts about this?
So I'll have to look into the subcommittee issue. But I don't think you have to complete the entire review tonight, as long as you can continue the review and deliberation for your next meeting.
Okay,
Just in line of making sure that all of our planning board members are still able to see and deliberate and be here on this.
I
Okay.
feel like for me, with the rest of it, there are two big things that I feel like we need to ask outside people for input on. So I would love to get through those today, just so the process of getting that outside input can get started. I would hate to wait on that.
Okay, so what about this? We skip ahead tonight to Kate's points. At that point, we move on to the rest of our agenda for tonight. We plan to come back and continue with this discussion, and meanwhile, Jane will find out whether it is permissible to do any of this in committee. Does that make sense to people?
Could you, sorry, Mimi, could you explain again? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, don't apologize. What I'm proposing is, in light of the fact that Gerninder is going to have to leave and it is 9:30, maybe, you know, Kate has a couple of items in this notice of decision that she thinks it's important to bring up tonight. And I think she's right about it, because it means it will let us start consulting with our outside experts. But she doesn't feel she needs to go through the whole rest of the notice of decision tonight. So what I'm proposing is that we go to her items, leave this there for tonight, and figure on taking it up again with corrections that we'll have made by then at our next meeting. And meanwhile, I'm going to ask Jane whether it is permissible under the law for us to maybe designate a subcommittee that can work through some of this, so we don't have to do all of it in public meeting next time.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we have consensus. I see no hands raised objecting. So Kate, can you fast forward to?
Yeah.
the items?
Yeah. So my other
Sure.
things were like 39 says that the applicant's going to provide a refuse management and maintenance plan. I feel like there's a whole bunch of things that we might want to ask for there. And I think that it would be good to get outside, like I'd like to get Yoni's opinion on that. He may not have direct experience of doing something like that, but I think that we need to get some input on how that might happen. The applicant seemed very amenable to doing something, but I think we need to craft it well so that it actually happens, and I'd like to get Yoni's input there.
Well, that sounds 100% reasonable to me. Everybody
And
else?
Yeah, that's good.
And then the other section, like there's this whole section sort of that Jeff rightly, I think, has in red that goes from 48 to 54 about the look back. And I had some ideas about it myself, but I do think we also need to get Steve Severia's input there.
Yeah.
So I would love to take that to a subcommittee, but also I think we definitely need Steve's input because that's going to be critical, I think, to people's ability to be able to vote for this. And I don't know, is there any other thing that we think needs a look back?
Nathan had an interesting idea, which, I was really pleased to see, about doing something for pedestrians and bicyclists. Just, we're going to be looking at the flow of the road anyway. And, I do have his language on my other computer. I don't have it right here. But
Maybe we could wrap that into the review with the subcommittee and Steve of these late 40s, early 50s items.
Yeah, but I thought that was in fact the place for it. And I think it's a really great idea. And having Steve's eye on it will be good. But, we should do it because if there are a lot more pedestrian conflicts or bicyclist conflicts than we're anticipating, we need to know it and we need to deal with it. It's public safety.
Yes, I think because I don't know how the pedestrian traffic is gonna change with the facility, but right now it's still sort of a parking area slash a visiting area for hikers in the area. So, if that continues to be the pattern, safety will be a concern. So I think basically I put some language, basically if some kind of hospitalization or fatality occurs within a certain radius, it should trigger a need to mitigate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with the subcommittee, if that's Jane, sorry, Mimi, did Jane say subcommittee is appropriate?
She said she'd have to look into it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean they can. I don't need to provide the details here, but yeah. Hopefully, if that works, they can incorporate that with consultation from the traffic engineers.
Yeah, and obviously the whole board would see any results of it. So, okay, I think we are temporarily done with this. So we can move on to the next item on the agenda with the intention of coming back and powering through the rest of it in 3 weeks. And meanwhile, we'll be working on it. And that brings us to the special permits and recommendation for the zone change for Holyoke Housing Authority. Are we up to tackling that tonight?
I'd love to do it, get it done, so that we have one less thing to worry about.
Okay,
Since I wasn't participating in the hearing for this, I think maybe I'll step at this point,
So
if that's okay.
Nathan don't have to.
no, if,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, thank you.
Um,
So, unless you need to vote on any action related to the Duncan, I'll step out.
Nope, no votes tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
So do we now have a quorum to vote? Yes, we do. We have me, Rosanna, Gerdander.
I'm still here.
Yeah,
Yes,
you got the
I
four you
knew we
need.
had 4. I knew it.
So in the Google Drive, later this afternoon, I did put 5 draft notice of decisions in there, and if I recall, I labeled them as might have just been HHA decisions, or let me see. HHA SP NODs.
Yeah, that's how I see it too.
Yeah. Under the circumstances, Google is really working funky for me, so I'm not sure if you all are having those problems, but I'm not sure if you are either, Brianna, but if you could try to log into that and share your screen.
And I'll say, I mean, in terms of the fence, I really wish they didn't have a fence in the front yard, but I can understand why they are. And I appreciate the fact that since they've turned the front door of the houses on the corner to the side street, it actually means that it's not a solid wall on the side street. There is still building and front door and like person facing on the side streets. So I don't love it, but I'm willing to approve it. Because I mean, I understand their argument.
It's up to you guys, but I'm not feeling good for 6 feet fence. You guys can go ahead.
I feel like they picked a really attractive fence too. Like they didn't just pick a chain link. Like they
For
picked
me, sorry, it seemed like to me it's like everybody gonna comes up for like 6 feet, special permit for the fences all around, and it's look like some kind of like Bronx, Brooklyn area, not Western Mass anymore.
Yeah, but I think that's
That's
the point, is that like that's where the housing is so dense that it is like Brooklyn or the Bronx. So that's why people want privacy. But I hear your point. I'm just,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was striking to me to have the people who've lived in that kind of housing step up to say, yes, we need our privacy. I realize it was a small sampling, but I would rather look at a 4-foot fence. On the other hand, if I were living there, I don't know which I would prefer.
So we need 4. We need 3 yes to approve or 4.
We need 3 to approve, I believe, but am I wrong about that?
You need 4 to approve.
Okay, thank you.
So
It's-
here's
it's
a question.
zoning.
Here's a question I have, and we didn't bring this up in public hearing, but we might be able to go back to them. Like, this might actually be this might call for a site visit. Like, we might have a different sense of it when we see, if we go to the site and see really how big that yard is going to be.
Yeah, that's a point.
Yeah, that's true because they didn't start building it yet, so unless they can wait for
And
the
it's not
fence.
And it's not really the yard, it's like the front. Like what Galen just said, I'm like, why does it have to be in the front? Like I get the whole backyard
You know the area,
order,
Rosanna?
but like right in the front, I'm like, oh, that feels so institutionalized. And I get why they do it because technically the houses are being built in the hood and they have that hood mentality. So they think somebody's gonna like jump over their fence and break into their house. Like I get all that, but aesthetically, it doesn't look like home ownership when you have these 6-foot fences surrounding you everywhere.
It might be useful for us to like, can we go with them to the site and can we also maybe make a stop on the way to have them show us what people are doing in Churchill Homes and how that, because their argument is really based on here's how people want it to be.
Nobody in Churchill's has 6-foot fences. That's why I was like, I'm looking at him like, are you serious? Nobody has that in the front. They all have it in their backyard because they park back there. People have put pools back there. People have put play swings back there. But nobody in the front has a 6-foot freaking fence. Nobody.
Okay, so I think we should do this. I think we should hold off on the fence height thing. And we can have a look at it. And we can deal with the variances and the zone change tonight.
Sounds good to me. And can we just reach out to them and request a site visit?
Yeah, I can reach out to Sarah tomorrow and see about setting something up.
Would it work for people to do it like we're going Friday at 9:30 to see the other thing? Could we just, swing down to this one right after that? If they can do that?
If it's like say, if we can do 9 o'clock this one and then 9:30 other one, yes.
I can't get there till 9:15 at the earliest, but we could, we could
We
try
don't need much,
stack
yeah, we
them.
don't need much time over there anyway. So 9:15 over there, 9:30 here, we will be good.
So I will reach out to Sarah and see if she's available on Friday at 9 a.m.
I can't be there till 9.
9:15.
9:15, sorry. 9:15.
All we need 10.
Okay. So,
Sorry, depending on how long the site like visits take, I might have to peel off for the second one, but I will absolutely drive by both the Churchill and this site so I can make sense out of it and be prepared.
and as usual, I will be there or not, depending on what my schedule turns out to look like.
Can take pictures. All right, so are we okay on everything else? Can I make a motion that we approve the
Yeah.
special permits we have 3 different special permits for dimensional regulations for South Holyoke Homes. I move that we approve all 3 of the dimensional regulations special permits.
I make second.
Okay, is there anything we need to fill in on?
Oh.
Oh yeah, we didn't even look at it. I'm just
No,
ready.
Yes, I'm just ready to, but conceptually, we might need to add some findings.
Yeah.
Okay, can we scroll down a little? It's up on my screen, but it's just the heading.
Brianna,
I'm sorry?
Can you scroll that up a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
It's not moving.
Hmm?
We're
Not
not,
moving.
it's not moving.
What's that?
Yes,
I'm
bro.
sorry. What are we looking at? I'm sorry.
We're looking at a notice of decision for dimensional regulations, and we're only seeing the header for it.
The
We
header?
need- Yeah,
Can you
we need to scroll so that we can actually see the text. Should be the same thing that we did with the previous documents that were on the screen.
Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I'm just confused. I'm also tired.
Don't worry, Brianna. I'm waking since yesterday, 4 o'clock. Did not sleep
Okay.
yet.
Okay. Sorry, I'm.
Yeah, that's it. Keep going. Okay, so we need to fill in the part in red.
Okay, sorry about that, guys.
No problem, we're here now. It looks like the language is there for one. Actually, I don't see anything that we have to add in there. Do you guys?
Nope.
No, it looks great. It's fine. And all three of them have that language? If all three of them have that language, I think we can just vote on all three of them at once, yeah?
Just all
Yes.
same language. We have them. Okay, now you can go ahead.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, so we already had a motion and a second.
Yeah, I did a motion and a second already. So.
Okay, all in favor?
Roll call vote for Kate,
Yes.
Mimi,
Yes.
Verinder,
Yes.
Rosanna.
Yes, ma'am.
Yay.
We still need to do the zoning text change, though.
Well, that should be easy because my impression is that we all agree that the new zoning is appropriate for the neighborhood and ought to be approved.
Yeah,
And
do
if
we?
that is the case, I would suggest that we vote to recommend to the city council that this zoning text change be adopted. And we throw together, and by we, I probably mean me, although other volunteers are welcome, like a paragraph letter to go with it saying, you know, this will provide for much needed housing in the area and is consistent with the historical character of Holyoke Center City.
And it's not a spot zone because it is directly abutting other DR
yes,
properties.
right. And at that point, you know, we have time to finalize that and send it over, but we will have done the recommendation and we can just do that.
So I'll move that we recommend a zoning change from IG to DR at the properties listed in our agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Roll call vote for Kate,
Yes.
Mimi,
Yes.
Gurinder,
Yep.
Rosado.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we need to vote on the ANR?
It couldn't hurt. The board's done that in the past where they basically approve the A&R so that the signer can come in and sign it.
I'll move that we approve an ANR as demonstrated in the, as shown to us in the hearing for the properties under consideration for South Holyoke Homes Phase 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Roll call vote for Kate,
Yes.
Mimi,
Yes.
Gurinder,
Yes.
Rosado.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The only thing left on the agenda here is meeting schedule.
Can I
Hello?
bring something up quickly? Is that
Oh,
okay?
please.
I'm so sorry.
No,
So
Go
I wanted
ahead.
to do it well, if in case Gurninder had to go, I wanted to make sure I got this out.
Yeah.
So I did quickly look at your rules and regs and double checked it with open meeting law. So you can do a special committee, and that can be appointed by the chairperson. The board needs to approve the appointment and for what the purpose is and the term of that committee. So if you wanted to, Mimi as chairperson, if you wanted to appoint no more than 2 people to serve on the subcommittee, then you could do that, and you do not need to be in public meeting because you wouldn't have a quorum for public meeting and requiring open meeting law. But as long as we make sure that we're continuing to do discuss the decisions and what those decisions were when we're in open session and public meeting. So if you wanted to do an appointment of some members to serve on the subcommittee for the purpose of reviewing and considering the proposed conditions to the Salmar Duncan site plan for a term as to be determined essentially as long as needed until final determination is made on that application, then you could do that.
Well, thank you. Before we leave tonight, is it the will of this body that we appoint a committee of no more than 2 people to do this drafting work on the Salmar decision?
Yes.
Okay. And I do not want to appoint myself to all committees without giving you guys a chance to say, no, we want somebody else on the committee from time to time. But if you guys are comfortable with me being one of them, I will be one of them, and then I need somebody else, ideally.
I don't really have time, but I can do it.
Well,
Good.
okay. Lauren, did you want
I'll
a
make
shot at
that
this?
I'm already on 2 subcommittees and I don't have a vote in them, so that doesn't feel like exactly right for me to be coming up with the conditions.
Okay, Gurninder, did you want to be on this committee? Just making
But
sure.
I thought you want to be with Kate, so
Well-
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get Kate or Rosanna off the hook if they don't actually want to do it. And also, I don't want to make assumptions about who doesn't want to do it. But
Right, if the kid want to do it, I'm okay with you because you and Kate are mostly working on this together. So if she's okay with that, and I'm fine with it.
okay,
Are you
make
okay?
a motion, Kate. I will try to spare you most of this.
Kate, if you're like super swamped, like
I am, but I've already done a lot of thinking about it, so it's not that much
Mhm.
worse to keep doing it.
okay.
Yeah, that's why, because she did a lot of work on that, so it'd be
Yeah.
Yeah,
easy
and
for
you
her.
guys met behind the scenes and you guys had a conversation, so there's already like a relationship with this with this.
And
Do you
Okay.
wish to set a meeting date now, or do you want to think about it and, come back or in a couple days and come up with a
this
time?
week is better for me than next week, which is almost impossible, so I'd do it end of this week. We can figure that out off meeting, but the sooner the better as far as I'm concerned.
But it sounds like we need a formal vote, not just consensus.
You guys can decide that later on. So let's make the motion to
Okay, I guess I am making the motion.
make the
as-
motion for the.
Okay,
You making motion? Okay, go ahead.
well, no, just because I think Jane said that I was supposed to designate. So as chair, I am moving to designate myself and Kate Crookmeyer, the vice chair, to do this drafting work in connection with the tentative Salmar notice of decision. And we will, the committee will last for as long as it is necessary, but no longer than 90 days from the date where we close the public hearing, because that's the amount of time we have. And we will report everything back for public discussion by the full planning board. Jane, has that got it all? Okay, so I have made that motion.
I'll make this second, but whenever you
Okay, all in favor?
can I make a second?
Yes.
So you make that motion. I'll make that second, but whenever you guys discussion everything, so you can share with the board, right?
Right.
All right.
Okay.
I'll make a
Now,
second.
all in favor?
Roll call vote for Kate,
Yes.
Mimi,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Gurinder.
Yes.
Okay, Jane, thank you. Thank you for rescuing us before the meeting adjourned.
Before
You're
Gurninder
welcome.
leaves, do we need to vote on making Lauren our
Oh, yes, our
CPA
CPA
representative.
representative. Let's do it.
I'm sorry?
We need a new
Okay.
representative to the CPA since Nathan has resigned from that and Lauren is willing to do it. So
Okay.
I move that we approve Lauren as our representative to the CPA.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Second.
Roll call vote for Kate,
Yes.
Mimi,
Yes.
Gurinder,
Yes.
and Rosanna.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a follow-up question on that. Can I be your representative before I'm confirmed by city council?
I suspect you can.
I don't
Someone-
know.
But I just, like, Jane, do you know that?
I think she has
Is
to
there what
approve.
is there a specific provision that says that there has to be a member of the planning board there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's state
yeah.
law. On the other hand, we have gone weeks and months in between representatives.
I mean, I don't see why we can't have Lauren be deemed an interim representative until she becomes a full member of the board.
Yeah, I
Seems
think,
fine.
Okay.
okay, so now, is there anything else that we need to get to before we adjourn? We would normally go over the meeting schedule, where we've just added a couple of things to May 28th. May 14th is maybe the Northampton Street residential development. Check-in from Peck Middle School, and a really interesting development from Lynch Colvest, which Jeff can talk about better than I can.
So with that, just briefly, I recently was reached out to by a contractor who was representing Citizens Bank, and in the process, he was stating that he was looking to take the teller-based drive-through window offline and turn it into an ATM only use. And though both are allowed, I mean, arguably that would cause an amendment to the site plan. But then based on the site plan and in my discussions with Attorney Mantaleski, the response was pretty much that their site plan review decision has expired. And any special permits that would have gone with that. So, I mean, we were already gonna kind of bring members of Colvest here and they've agreed to show up. But now but now it might be for that further discussion to maintain the fairness across the board that they need to basically reapply for site plan review on that site, to reapprove a project there in light of the fact that the recent, or their approval has expired. And obviously they're not substantially complete. So, anyways, I guess that's all I've got to add for that at this point.
Okay, anybody else have anything that they feel we should be discussing? Old business, new business, things that can't wait 3 weeks? I have 60 seconds to call for a motion to continue beyond 10 o'clock.
I'd say we close and you and I stay on to figure out when we can meet, or maybe with Jeff too.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Roll call vote for Kate,
Yes.
Mimi,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Gurinder.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all so much. We made it.
Have a good night, everyone.
You too,
Good night.
thanks.
I have a quick question.
Who was that?
I think that's our phone viewer here.
Okay, our meeting is adjourned, but if you want to ask a quick question, we can see if we can handle it.
Hi, I just had a quick question.
Yep.
I thought that tiny houses was on the agenda, and it's possible I missed it because I was like an hour and a half late. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss it, or find out if I did miss it.
You didn't miss anything. We brought it up and continued it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
You too.
Good
Thank
night.
That's what the same number was there, when everybody is supposed to be.
That
It's the
was
same
Kaylee
number.
DeGrace.
Probably Kaylee, yeah. All right, so Mimi, Jeff, we want a calendar. We don't need anybody else for that, right?
No.
Bye, everybody
You want
else.
to talk about this in person or via Zoom?
Doesn't matter. Zoom would be easier for me, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to do it by Zoom. And, I think that we worked through most of it. It's just, a lot of it is people who we're going to have to go back to for more information. And the going through the TypeScript without having to do it in a meeting with all the awkwardness that entails. It sounds like everybody's on board with roughly. what we
Thank you.
want to do. Yes.
Could I suggest either we do it right after the comprehensive plan meeting on Thursday, or right after we do our site visits on Friday?
So for what it's worth, I'm meeting with Lauren after the site visits.
Okay.
or there, or shortly thereafter, around 9:30, 10 o'clock. So it's probably gonna take about an hour, hour and a half to kind of discuss. She kind of wants some information about the site plan review that was done
Mhm.
for 209 South Street to kind of get a better understanding of it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, so could we do so either Thursday after the comprehensive plan meeting, or I guess I could do Friday afternoon, if it was before about 3 o'clock.
I have an orthodontist appointment at noon on Friday. I don't know how long it'll take because I've never done this before. But
Could we say Thursday at 2 then?
Yeah, Thursday sounds safer,
okay.
and I will see how much I can get drafted between now and then.
And I will send a Zoom link, well, probably in the morning at this point, for 2 o'clock on that huddle meeting is to 1:45. Yeah, so 2 o'clock-ish till, well, set it till 3 for what it's worth, but
Sounds great.
okay.
All
Okay.
right. Need to
Well,
go stretch.
So in the meantime, though, if either, I mean, obviously I'm gonna be reviewing the storage stuff tomorrow or beginning, or more at length tomorrow. But do you want me to continue to go through, do you want me to leave the NOD as it is, or do you want me to make corrections that we discussed already tonight? Or that Brianna already kind of updated but might need to be freshened up a little bit, or do you want me to leave it as is for now?
It's fine with me if you go ahead and do what we talked about.
Okay,
Sounds great.
okay.
well,
I'll see, I'll,
Maybe, and like if you have time to check in with Steve and see if he's,
Right.
when he can do that.
right,
okay, I will focus on attempting to get drafts that nail things down or sufficiently that I'm comfortable with them. At which point I'm sure that the plaintiffs will scream, but
I don't know, they were pretty, well, Rob was pretty amenable to everything we were throwing at him.
yeah. Well, I don't think that we're being unreasonable. I think that we have never, because we've never been in this hostile situation, demanded the kind of proof of and security for various things. And I really do want to inquire further about what our options are if we get to a point where we need mitigation and now we're trying to invoke something like that clause about you lose your site plan approval.
Yeah.
just briefly, one thing I was confused about was originally I recall Jane saying that the remand included all the special permits. But then tonight, did she not say that they didn't
No, she
include them?
went back and I think she said that they did.
Okay, because I mean, that's why I was trying to build a case for the signs and the fence height. Because I'm gonna say that those would arguably need to be withdrawn and resubmitted. But the multiple principal structure and the parking would be the only ones that are still really valid then. Because the other two are kind of, were based on other, like, the dumpster height is what Jessica thought she was submitting for.
Well, we
And
can
then the
just do some-
signage was never final.
Yeah, we can just do something about, these will be deemed to have been given leave to withdraw and
Yeah.
applicants will resubmit.
Yeah, okay. Because I wasn't sure if she was saying tonight that they would have to apply for all four again or not. I guess that was not, I was confused myself, so.
Well, I was confused too, but I think if we put it in that way, everybody will see the document, including Jane. And if she says it's wrong, they'll fix it.
Yeah, okay,
I think the big hump is just getting it all down.
right,
So nothing.
right. Okay,
So, okay. See you all very, very shortly as these things go.
right. So Thursday for the huddle meeting and then the notice of decision review to follow.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Never ends.
Never does. And tomorrow night I get to do Board of Appeals all night. So this is like a double whammy for me.
Woo!
Yay.
They
Okay,
don't pay
thank
you
you,
enough,
thank
but
you.
they also don't pay us enough.
Have a good
All
night,
right.
thank
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Bye-bye.